So we're working out the attack today. The attack, I can't see anyone's chats by the way, but the M.O.A.Anxt Attack was the mother of all anxiety attacks. And there is way too much noise here. Maybe I should do another place next time. But basically, I'm now trying to think through the process of the mother of all anxiety attacks. It started today at about 1:45 p.m. Sydney time. And just in the way that when someone is hungry, they only see food. Everything, the whole world orientates in such a way that they can find food. And that's all they think about until they're full, or until they're no longer starving or hungry. And that's sort of like what happens in the anxiety attacks. All you see are all of the thoughts that push you deeper and deeper into the anxiety. And that world becomes so real that any rational, reasonable defense to any of the negative thoughts becomes some sort of distant illusion, some world away from worlds, some place you were in on your honeymoon. And compounding that was the fact that the timetable they gave us for driving the buses was really, really terrible. And it turns out all the buses were running late. But in my head, I find that intolerable. And that caused so much more anxiety on top that the overlays created the very rare events of the mother of all anxiety attacks, the M.O.A.Anxt. The feeling is associated with every single deathly, hallowed, hanging nightmare, and every vision, every sound, every thought process that is stimulated by what is around me is unbelievably negative. And there's no way around it, because just like when you're hungry, it's not you, it's the part of you, the hungry part of your brain that's taking control. It's the same thing here, where the anxiety part of the brain took control, and the horror and the heart palpitations and the desire to scream, the suicidal thoughts. It is an avalanche of devastation that feels like reality when nothing else is. And I'm going to bring your chats back in. So I have to run. I wonder if looking at it actually could help. That's right. And on top of that, having a high, very, very, very high trait neuroticism. Yeah, and you see, normally that's what happens because anxiety attacks come every day. But the mother of all attacks is when you don't even realize that you're having it until you are deep and lost within the abyss of the anxiety itself. And thinking about it and analyzing it was quite interesting, yeah. So the thoughts, I think, have to be dealt with, yeah. The thoughts have to go. How long did it go for? It ended about 30 minutes ago, so it went for about 4 hours and 15 minutes. And I am exhausted. I didn't eat or drink the whole time, got a gigantic headache. No, it was okay. Towards the end, I was able to try and break out. No, don't be sorry at all. It's good. I wanted to say a big thank you to Eva, who's become a new GoFundMe member, which is absolutely amazing. Inch by inch, book by book, we're getting there. No, I'm just on my halfway break. And it was a disaster of a shift because you're late the whole time, and that lateness compounds the stress upon the brain, so it renders you unable to even deal with it because the rational part of you is gone. Yeah. I'll be back, hold on. So, as we were saying, yeah. Well, no, it's okay because it turns out everyone was late. Like every single bus was late by 30 minutes. I was only late by 15 minutes. So I was, as always, I do better than the other bus drivers because my brain is focusing on that, right? So that's not really the issue. What I'm thinking now, I'm thinking out loud. Yeah, it's government. Your government can't do anything right. Government couldn't carve a banana properly. What I'm thinking out loud about is the thoughts that came during the anxiety attack. Because if I can deal with those thoughts and that PTSD, then maybe, just maybe, the attacks can't be ever as bad again. And those thoughts are the ones I really need to deal with. And those are the ones I'm thinking that when I have enough time, I'm going to share them with you. But one of them, for example, one of them, for example, was a flashback to me screaming when I was 24, when this girl, yeah, I might do that. This girl dumped me, but in such a merciless way that I just remember screaming, and my brother was praying over me as I was screaming. He thought there was some sort of demon in me, and I was just going, ah, and I was just screaming because I didn't even know how to process what was going on. And that thought came back to me, and there were many, many of those. So paradoxically, it was not in my head at all. Initially, I was concerned, but within 5 minutes, karma, within 5 minutes, those fears were allayed because the other bus drivers were like, nah, we're all running 30 to 40 minutes late. So I was only running 15, so that wasn't really a problem. But the autism causes a problem there because everything has to be correct. And when it's not, the brain can't compute it properly. If I believe in that, I don't believe in that, no.
That's the way to save it.
Yeah. So other thoughts are things like, so a general hazy fear. That's exactly correct. A general hazy fear. I was actually early. That's correct. That wasn't the actual issue. That was just the final trigger. And I'm still a center to the stars. What happened was, and this only happens every once or twice in a decade. These attacks, they're not that prominent. Now, they're sort of aftershocks from the earthquake from 10 years ago. And I'm gonna have to go in 5 minutes. But I now know, looking back, that I lost it at about 146 because I was 1 minute late and I took a wrong turn, and I remember just screaming at 1:46 p.m. today, as we help you, new tests will appear. This is true. This is true. Yes, much is given to whom of much is required. It wasn't about the late. That thing was just the final trigger, right? It was that my brain was already in anxious mode, and I think it actually started from the university. So when I got kicked out of the university, my brain has been going over it ever since. And that last straw, exactly. And then what I think happened was at every moment in my life that is related to that part where I got kicked out, you know, for example, when I was kicked out of my ex-girlfriend's life, kicked out of school, kicked out of my advanced diploma in business, all these things start coming back, and then they all reaffirm this depiction of the anxious self as a failure, as a devastation, as someone who's going to go to jail for a thought crime they did not commit. And it compounds, and then it just manifests in unresolved thoughts and the PTSD. Yeah, I think so. And the brain just shoots them back at you, and I think it's because they're unresolved. So I'm going to have to try and resolve them. And fingers crossed, by resolving them, see, there's I can resolve them, then maybe it can help you guys with your own versions. It wants validation, yeah. They weren't resolved. I don't know if that's true. Maybe someone else will know, but I'm thinking that them not being resolved leaves them in the brain to remind you, no, that's life. We just have to get stronger. We can't make the world better for us. We have to make ourselves stronger for the world, as I've said before. That's what's required. And we have to face what is thrown upon us. But during the anxiety period, that rational voice that I've just espoused is somewhere deep in the recesses of a mind that doesn't even feel like it's mine. It's a faint echo of someone saying, Simba, remember who you are. You know. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. I think they haven't been resolved. And when you're okay, when you're okay, you think that they have been resolved. And then you see things like, you see young people like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds starting out in life, and it gives you the illusion that you're dying off and they're taking over, which is not really the case, because they need you to become who they need to become, but they're only living it for the first time in the same way we did. So it's not that your very first one, age 12. Interesting, that was my first suicide note, age 12. Anyway, I really have to go, unfortunately. But I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. Yeah, I might, we'll see if I might put this on YouTube as a public scope. Likewise, me. Huh. Well, you know, we all are, right? We all have to be. What choice do we have? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. You are special, Helen, Mimi, Liran, and Jennifer, and everyone else that was here. Bon nuit for now. I'm going back to my shift, another 4 hours, but it's now night, so the traffic should be better now. All right, bye.